Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Andrea Breanna, founder and CEO of RebelMouse. She's also the former CTO of Huffington Post and LGBT Loyalty's first transgender member of the board of directors. And we also have Andrew Chanin, CEO at Procure Asset Management, fund advisor of LGBT. They join us for National Coming Out Day this Monday, October 11th. October is also LGBT History Month. Andrew, it's great to have you with us. Andrea, let's start with you. Tell us about LGBT Loyalty Holdings.
It's a company I'm very excited about as an openly transgender person. Its missions and values are beautifully aligned with the community, the LGBT community, and supporting us. It's a diversity and inclusion-based data company that quantifies corporate equity alignment and minority interest groups. And it's committed to creating more financial products that support and LGBT equality. So it's an amazing thing for allies and for the LGBT community.
And Andrea, why did you join the group?
Well, when I came out as trans, I had spent most of my life in total fear of being discovered and being outed. And being an out in public part of the LGBT community has been a really beautiful experience. My career has been focused on contagious media, how things spread, why they spread, and being a part of things that are worth spreading. I believe, and I'm very excited, that when the LGBT community becomes more aware of this company and the opportunities that it creates, that it's going to have potentially a contagious media component where so many tens of millions of people can find a way to voice their support and influence corporate America. So it's a very exciting company to me personally.
And Andrea, tell us about National Coming Out Day and why it is important to the LGBT community.
You know, especially for, this is true for in the entire LGBT community, but for trans people in particular, which as an openly trans person, I see through that lens, the signal of support from people can mean in our community the difference of life and death for people. And so a day where we all recognize, thank you, Jill, and thank you to Nasdaq for taking a moment of airtime to show support. The hate and discrimination that our community faces, you know, needs a counterbalance, and the people who quietly support, having a chance to publicly support, is tremendously meaningful. So I think this is a very important day for everyone in the closet as well, to see the thriving community, to see what life can be, and for us who have been out and who are out to celebrate the bravery and what it's meant to our lives to do that.
All right, and Andrea, we're grateful for the opportunity to support you. And Andrea, I'd like to bring you into the conversation. What is the LGBTQ 100 ESG index about?
So this is something that LGBTQ Loyalty Holdings has been working on in conjunction with another index provider, Fuzzy Logics, for several years to develop. And originally the idea was that our partners wanted to create some type of index that they believe was representative and including of companies that were supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. And through a tremendous amount of work and what we think is a really interesting and helpful aspect to the index creation was actually a survey that went out to over 150,000 households from the LGBTQ plus community to get their various input and information as well. So something that was developed for this community and their allies ended up becoming an index that actually took the feedback from the community, and it looks at originally a universe of roughly 500 of the largest companies in the United States. It's screened for various ESG types of rankings, and then the remaining companies go out in the survey to the community, and from that input, roughly 100 companies are then included in this index.
So Andrew, tell us about the LGBT ETF and the methodology behind it.
Right. So the ETF is a passive index that tracks the aforementioned, or a passive ETF that tracks the aforementioned index. And what is, we think, so important is that the LGBTQ plus community in the United States represents roughly $1 trillion economy. And LGBTQ plus individuals have been proven to be very loyal consumers of companies that they believe are supportive of their community. So by actually going through this survey process and getting their feedback, the hopes are that we're finding of these 500 companies, the some odd 100 that this community believes is actually doing what is supportive of their community. And by doing so, we hope that we were finding these companies that this community of roughly $1 trillion is putting their money towards, whether it's products, goods, and services. So someone that wants to invest in companies that are aligned with the community, this is such an inclusive concept that it actually is going and getting the feedback from the community. And someone that wants to invest in 100 of the largest companies, American listed companies that are supportive of this community, now have a vehicle in LGBT, the ETF, that allows them to be supportive, whether you're allies, whether you're from the community, or whether you want to just invest in companies that are aligned and have a higher ESG kind of component to them. This is a vehicle that they might be interested in.
All right, Andrea, thanks so much for your insight and for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.